I put hidden cameras in my baby's room because something felt wrong about my husband's brother. What I found wasn't physical abuse. It was worse. He was whispering terrible things to my 6-month-old baby, telling him I didn't love him. When I exposed him at a family dinner, his whole life fell apart. If you think a mother's gut feeling is always right, hit that subscribe button now. Like this video because this story shows what happens when you mess with someone's child. You won't believe how this ends. When you become a mom, everything changes. Every sound in the house makes you worry. Every person who gets too close to your baby makes you nervous. People call it being overprotective, but I call it being a good mother. My name is Lisa, and this is the story of how I caught my brother-in-law trying to turn my baby against me. My husband Mike has a younger brother named Kevin. Kevin is 30 years old but still acts like he's 20. He lives with his parents, doesn't have a real job, and always needs money. But Mike loves his little brother and always makes excuses for him. I never liked Kevin much. There was something about him that felt wrong. He smiled too much. He got too close when he talked to you. He showed up at our house without calling first. But Mike said I was being mean and that Kevin was just trying to be friendly. When our baby Tommy was born, Kevin became obsessed with him. Not in a normal uncle way, in a creepy way that made my skin crawl. The first weird thing happened when Tommy was 2 weeks old. I was tired and hadn't slept much. Kevin came over without asking and walked right into the baby's room where I was feeding Tommy. "I can help with that," he said, reaching for my baby before I could stop him. "He's eating right now," I said, holding Tommy closer to me. Kevin's face got angry for just a second. Then he smiled again. "You look so tired, Lisa. You should let me help more." When Mike came home, Kevin acted like the perfect brother. "I was just trying to help Lisa," he said. "She seems stressed." Mike believed him. "Kevin's right, honey. You should let him help more." But I didn't want Kevin's help. Something about him felt dangerous. Over the next few weeks, Kevin started coming over every day. He'd show up when Mike was at work and offer to watch Tommy so I could shower or take a nap. At first, I said yes because new moms need help. But then I started noticing strange things. After Kevin's visits, Tommy would cry for hours. Not a normal baby crying, scared crying. Tommy's toys would be moved around in ways I didn't remember. His blankets would be folded differently. And worst of all, Tommy would flinch when Kevin picked him up. I told Mike about these things, but he didn't believe me. "You're being paranoid," Mike said. "Kevin loves Tommy. He's just trying to be a good uncle." "Good uncles don't need to be here every single day," I said back. "He's my brother, Lisa. Tommy is his nephew. Stop being so controlling." That word, controlling, made me so angry. I wasn't being controlling. I was being protective. There's a big difference. The breaking point came on a Thursday afternoon. I had a bad headache and put Tommy down for his nap. Then Kevin showed up, using the spare key Mike had given him. I heard him go straight to Tommy's room. I got up and walked quietly to the door to see what he was doing. Kevin was standing over Tommy's crib. Tommy was awake but quiet, looking up with his big blue eyes. That's when I heard Kevin start talking in a soft, sweet voice. "Your mommy doesn't really love you," Kevin whispered to my baby. "She pretends to care, but she wishes you were never born. That's why she's always tired and sad. You make her life harder." I grabbed the door frame so hard my hands hurt. Tommy made little baby sounds, reaching his tiny hands up. "But don't worry," Kevin continued, touching Tommy's cheek. "Uncle Kevin loves you. Uncle Kevin thinks you're perfect. Maybe someday you can come live with me instead of staying here with mean mommy." I backed away from the door, my heart beating so fast I thought I might pass out. This man was in my house, talking to my baby, trying to make my own child think I didn't love him. That night, I tried to tell Mike what I heard. "You're imagining things," he said without even looking at me. Kevin would never say stuff like that. "I heard him, Mike. I was right there. You've been really stressed lately. New moms sometimes think they hear things that aren't real." He was telling me I was crazy. My own husband was calling me crazy instead of believing that his brother was trying to hurt our baby. That's when I decided to get proof. The next day, I went to an electronics store and bought 4 tiny cameras. They were really small, about the size of a quarter, and they recorded everything in clear video with good sound. I put one in Tommy's room, hidden behind his books. One in the living room behind a picture. One in the hallway. And one in the kitchen where Kevin always hung out. The camera is connected to my phone so I could watch everything live and save the videos automatically. For 3 days, nothing happened. Just normal stuff. Me taking care of Tommy, Mike coming home from work, regular family life. Then Kevin came for his usual Thursday visit. This time, I stayed in my bedroom on purpose, watching everything on my phone. Kevin went straight to Tommy's room where Tommy was playing on his blanket on the floor. "There's my special boy," Kevin said, getting down on the floor next to Tommy. Tommy kicked his legs happily. Kevin looked around to make sure no one was watching. Then he leaned close to Tommy's ear. "Mommy has been saying bad things about me," he whispered. "She doesn't want Uncle Kevin to visit anymore. She's jealous because you love me more than her." I watched my baby's face on the phone screen. Tommy looked confused, like he could tell something was wrong even though he couldn't understand the words. "But that's okay," Kevin kept talking. "Uncle Kevin has been thinking, maybe you'd be happier living somewhere else. Somewhere Mommy can't make you cry all the time." He picked Tommy up and held him close. What he said next made me feel sick. "I've been looking at bigger apartments, just in case you ever need a safe place to stay, away from Mommy's anger and Daddy's long work days." This wasn't just a weird uncle anymore. This was a man planning to take my baby away from me. And he was telling this to a 6-month-old baby like it was a bedtime story. I saved every second of that video. I made copies and put them in different places so they couldn't be lost. Then I planned how to destroy him. The next Sunday was Mike's family dinner. Everyone comes once a month. His parents, his sister and her husband, Kevin, and Kevin's girlfriend Amanda, who was planning to marry him. I offered to cook dinner at our house. I spent all of Saturday making the perfect meal. Roast chicken, mashed potatoes, green beans, and fresh bread. I set the table with our best dishes and lit candles. Everything looked beautiful and warm. The perfect family dinner. On Sunday, everyone arrived at the same time. Mike's parents, Robert and Carol, who had always been nice to me. His sister Jenny and her husband Dave, who were good people. Amanda, who was so excited about her wedding plans and kept showing everyone her engagement ring. And Kevin, acting like the perfect brother-in-law. He brought wine, helped serve food, told funny stories, and made everyone laugh. We ate and talked and shared family news. Tommy sat in his high chair, babbling and making everyone smile. We looked like a happy, normal family. Halfway through dessert, I stood up. "Before we finish eating," I said, trying to keep my voice steady, "I want to show everyone something special. A video of Tommy." I had already connected my laptop to our TV. The video was ready to play. I made a little movie of Tommy's cutest moments, I lied. Just some sweet family clips. Everyone turned to look at the TV screen, smiling and excited. I pressed play. The first few seconds showed Tommy playing normally, which made everyone go, "Ah." Then Kevin's voice filled the room, sweet and gentle but saying terrible things. "Mommy doesn't really love you. She pretends to care, but she wishes you were never born." The room went completely silent. Amanda dropped her fork. Carol put her hand over her mouth. Robert's face went white. But the video kept playing. Kevin's voice continued, talking about taking Tommy away, about Tommy living with him, about how I didn't really want my own baby. "Turn it off," Kevin said, jumping up from his chair. He tried to reach for the laptop, but Mike stopped him. "What the hell is this?" Mike demanded, his face full of shock and anger. "It's fake," Kevin said quickly. "She made it up somehow. This isn't real. Fake." I stood up. "You think I faked your voice telling my baby that his mother doesn't love him? You think I made up with you planning to take him away from me?" Amanda was crying now. "Kevin, please tell me this isn't true. Please tell me you didn't really say these things." But Kevin's face had changed. The nice guy mask was gone. Now he looked angry and mean. "You set me up," he said, staring at me with hate in his eyes. "You recorded me without telling me." "I protected my baby," I said back. "In my own house, where you came every day to poison my child's mind against me." Robert stood up slowly. Even though he was 70 years old, he looked scary. "Get out," he said quietly. "Dad, let me explain," Kevin started. "Get out of this house right now," Robert said louder. "And don't come back." "This is crazy," Kevin said. "She's making everyone hate me over nothing. I love Tommy. I would never hurt him." "You were hurting him," Carol said, her voice shaking with anger. "You were telling a baby that his mother didn't love him. What kind of sick person does that?" Amanda took off her engagement ring and put it on the table. "We're done," she said simply. "Completely done." Kevin looked around the room, trying to find someone who might believe him. But the video was right there. His own words had proved what kind of person he really was. "You'll all be sorry," he said as he walked to the door. "This family will regret this." Mike followed him and opened the door. "If you come near my wife or my son again, I'll call the police. If you try to contact us, I'll get a restraining order. You're not welcome in our lives anymore." The door slammed shut, and Kevin was gone. Amanda left a few minutes later, apologizing and crying. Robert and Carol stayed to hold Tommy and tell me they were sorry they hadn't believed me before. Jenny hugged me and said she was proud of me for protecting Tommy. After everyone went home, Mike and I sat in our living room with Tommy finally asleep upstairs. "I'm sorry," Mike said. "I should have listened to you. I should have protected you both." "You couldn't have known how bad it was," I said. "I could barely believe it myself." "No," Mike shook his head. "You told me something was wrong, and I didn't listen. I called you paranoid. I made you doubt yourself." He was right, but I didn't need his apology anymore. I had already taken care of the problem myself. The next morning, I went to court and got a restraining order. The video made it easy. Within 2 days, Kevin legally couldn't come within 500 feet of our house or anywhere Tommy and I might be. But the legal stuff was just the beginning of Kevin's problems. Amanda's broken engagement became big news in their friend group. She told everyone the real reason she called off the wedding, and word spread fast. Kevin went from being seen as a great guy to being known as someone who mentally abused babies. Kevin lost his job next. He worked doing magic shows and puppet shows for kids' birthday parties. When his boss found out about the restraining order and why he got it, they fired him immediately. No one wants to hire someone who has a history of manipulating children. Robert and Carol stopped taking Kevin's phone calls. When he showed up at their house demanding to know why they chose me over their own son, Robert called the police. Kevin spent a night in jail for breaking the restraining order. A few months later, Kevin's landlord kicked him out of his apartment. The landlord had heard the story and didn't want Kevin living there anymore. Kevin had to move in with a friend, then eventually had to get a tiny studio apartment across town when that didn't work out. The worst part for Kevin was being alone. He had built his whole identity around being the fun brother-in-law, the cool uncle, the life of every family party. Without access to our family, without Amanda's friends, without his job working with kids, he had nothing left. 6 months later, Jenny told me that Kevin had been asking people about us. Where we lived now, we had moved to a new house, where Tommy went to daycare, whether Mike and I were still married. Every time someone told us he had asked about us, we reported it to the police, but he never came near us. The restraining order and the threat of going to jail kept him away. Tommy is doing great now. Without Kevin's poison words, without the stress of unwanted visits, our home became peaceful like it should have been from the start. Tommy sleeps well, smiles all the time, and is hitting all his growth milestones perfectly. Sometimes I wonder if those early months affected Tommy, if Kevin's words somehow hurt his little brain. But child experts told me that at 6 months old, babies can't understand words, only the feeling behind them. Which means Kevin was doing all of this just for himself, not because he thought it would actually work on Tommy. That makes what he did even more sick and twisted. A year after the family dinner, Amanda sent me a message on Facebook. She was dating someone new, a nice teacher who helped her understand how bad Kevin really was. "I wanted to thank you," she wrote. "I know you weren't trying to break up my engagement, but you saved me from marrying someone I never really knew. I hope Tommy is doing well." I was glad she reached out, but I didn't expose Kevin to save Amanda. I did it to protect my child and make sure Kevin faced consequences for what he did. That's the difference between revenge and justice. Revenge is about hurting someone because they hurt you. Justice is about stopping them from hurting anyone else. The hardest part wasn't setting up the cameras or planning the dinner. It was trusting my gut when everyone said I was wrong. But a mother's instinct isn't just worry or fear, it's nature's way of protecting our children from danger. Have you ever had to trust your gut about someone when everyone else thought they were harmless? Share your story in the comments below. If this story touched you, hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. Remember, when someone shows you who they really are, believe them. Your kids are counting on it.